Welcome everyone to today's session on xFigura. We're thrilled to be launching the V2 version. A small introduction about who we are. We just launched 3-4 months ago. We're a team of 6 and growing every few weeks, and essentially we're here to bring forward the latest and greatest concept design stage tool powered by AI. I'm joined here also with some of the team, Leo, Jean, thanks for also being here. So let me just move on. Okay, a small introduction about myself for those who don't know me. My name is George Guida. I'm the CEO of xFigura and founder. My background is I'm an architect by training, and I come from several years of experience working at Foster's, working at several industry companies. I worked at the Media Lab, did research also at Harvard. I do come from also a full technical background as well. So I do have that merge of this product world, the architecture world. I'm an architect by training in the UK, and this technical side as well. So I've been collaborating quite a bit with NCARB, with Reba. I'm in their expert advisory group on AI, and I give several lectures also with the AIA here in the US. We are a Boston-based company, but we work globally. We have a lot of architecture firms joining in. I'm happy to have 2 great ones who are working with us now in this call, and several universities are now signing up and joining us. So what are we going to cover today? We have just about an hour. I'm going to first give the voice to some of our industry partners, and then I'll give you a brief introduction about what xFigura is. I'll jump into a demo and then give you guys an update of what our latest product updates are, and we'll jump into a Q&A session right at the end. So just a brief introduction about xFigura. We built this to make your creative process faster, more visual, and fully collaborative. So essentially, there's a lot of AI noise that's happening out there. So we're essentially trying to capture all that noise and bring it all into one centralized and intuitive platform built by architects and for architects. And so it's intended as being a Miro. So it's kind of that collaborative, that infinite canvas. We host 26 now of the best and latest state-of-the-art AI generative models, and interface UX, making it accessible for architects, students, but also to those technical teams is a big priority for us. I do want to pass it on before I dive deeper into what we're building to some of our collaborators who are running our first pilot programs with, and I'd love to start with you, Andy. You're Senior Applied Technology Specialist. You've been giving us great feedback along the way, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on xFigura, if you wanted to share any of the progress or any of the latest updates that you might have.
Yeah, sure. Is it cool if I share my screen?
Of course.
All right, awesome. All right, awesome. Everyone see my screen all right? Perfect. All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Andy Cristoforo. I lead the AI and visualization efforts at KPF. We've been piloting xFigura for probably maybe almost a month now. And it's been great, mostly because, my role is like we have to manage a lot of different subscriptions from all the AI vendors, and there's like a lot of admin overload on our end, but also on the designers. Like a designer, they just want to create beautiful images. They want to generate things. They don't need to worry about going to vendor X, Y, and Z, worry about like the logins. Do we have credits? It's like been a whole nightmare. So part of my role is a lot of like R&D, working out these different workflows for teams to use. So this is one that we've been cooking, and this basically covers like the main, A to Z of what we do at KPF. So I just want to walk through all the different like nodes that I have here and just point out some like really nice things that we've done here to kind of make everyone's life easier, just to kind of show off the power of all this. So how it starts is you basically have like two starting points. There's really like starting from scratch with like a prompt or uploading an image. And something I like here is, KPF is a global company. Not everyone is a native English speaker. And what I always notice with people who are getting into the world of AI and prompting is they always struggle with, what to put, how to start, how to expand. So people usually put like a really basic sentence. Well, what this will do, this text-to-text node, is it'll actually expand on it and give me this really nice long prompt that's like perfect for the models instead of just like a basic sentence that a lot of people typically do. So then that node gets connected to text to image, and this will generate something. This one's using Flex Enterprise, but like what George was saying earlier, is there's all these different models. We've been playing with, which ones are our favorites, tuning the settings as needed, and we use the enterprise version just for like confidentiality and all that. Or we can upload a starting image. This could be like a rendering or a Rhino screenshot. But anyways, the point is, we can go from there. We can tweak it. We can change the lighting. So here we've got, one sunny sky. This is gloomy. We've got all these different options. We can enlarge it. And then if we want to get fancy, we can go and stylize it. So here I'm turning it into sketches, watercolor, and this is actually based on Aurora we trained, which is basically just like a collection of images that we found that look really nice. And then this one's architectural colored pencil. Then from there, we can run it into an upscaler just to sharpen it. We use this all the time. It's an easy way to just enhance and improve the quality of our renderings. You could see before and after how much sharper it looks. So that's been huge for us. And then we could just tie it all into a video node. So here you could see we're doing a slow dolly. Here we're doing another dolly and a little time lapse, which is really cool. So all this is like what we usually do for every single project when we're generating concepts. So here's where it gets really cool. I can select all this and create a workflow, because like I'm the R&D guy. Not every single architect or designer has the free time or cares about stringing all these together. I can actually just go to an empty space, and right over here, I can just hit Andy Magic, and it'll generate that template right on the fly. So the idea is this could propagate to our organization. All the designers can just use like the go-tos, which, right now we've got like image ideation, text to 3D, text to video, and then we have our saved templates. So the idea is to cover all of our workflows, so people don't need to worry about like, oh, do I use Flux Enterprise? Do I use Flux Context? Do I use Magnific? It's to help simplify things, just because it can be a lot. I mean, there's so many options and choices, but it is nice to have it in one space, and it does mimic the actual source app. So like we use Magnific a lot. All the settings from Magnific users will know this, like creativity, resemblance, HRI is all there. So it's not like we're losing anything doing it in here rather than the siloed app. But anyways, that's kind of where we're at right now. If anyone has like a question or two, I can answer it. But we've been having a lot of fun with it, and just feels like it simplifies a lot for us, at least for me.
Awesome. Really appreciate this. Your feedback has been really foundational for us, and look forward to continue this partnership. I will pass it on to Dave, and maybe we'll do a Q&A right at the end. If you're here, great. If not, I'll pass on those questions. Dave Shishen from Payette, I'd love to hear your thoughts, maybe any inputs you have on how things have been going with you guys. Thanks.
Yes, George, thank you. At Payette, we're probably starting in on our third year of AI, and last year we started working with George and his team, getting up and running with sort of Stable Diffusion and sort of jumping into that role. Did a lot of testing, and with what we focused on is visualization, but also sort of ideation. Nothing really client-facing, sort of on purpose, but we've now integrated xFigura as one of the tools in our toolbox, and I think Shishen can kind of share some of the ideas and tool sets we've been using. We have been mostly studying things that are actually live projects. We actually can't share screen just right now. If we had a little bit of more of a heads up, maybe we could have put something together, but we've doing a lot of similar stuff, and to be honest, we keep on just trying to come up with different ways and different ideas to tell stories. And so I think that's one of the big things for us is it's not just about the imagery, but why? What do we? What's the story behind what we're doing? So, Shishan, if you want to kind of share some of the ideas that we've been coming up with, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Yeah, as Dave mentioned, we were not able to share the contents just yet, but a couple ideas we were testing we find will be helpful for our storytelling. It's first one that's being image to video. That's the one we played the most. And we animated people moving in a sketch section. Then we have the section moving. We rotate the camera a little bit, then have the people moving around. Then we were doing a couple of similar tests to that, and we animate people in a still render, and we animate people in a physical model, just to show the idea how to utilize the space, how to tell the stories. And we can even animate rotation camera in an area shot. So those type of quick videos we find helpful to tell the architectural stories. The other topic we use a lot is image upscale. And when we do still renders, some of the people are rendered 3D people. They are not in their good quality. So we use that a lot. And the other topic we use is image to image. It will be a quick like Photoshop style task. We can remove all the people or remove like all the furnitures or in paint. So those type of things we do on xFigura, and we find it workflow kind of helpful. And sometimes the xFigura model, it generates different or even higher quality results than if we run the solo on their different model platforms.
Awesome. Really appreciate that. And it's been really great to see you guys really push us in terms of video. And so we've recently added several new models from this video space. We have single input or now multiple inputs, but look forward to seeing what you guys come up with. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Shishan. Awesome. I'm going to continue this. Give you guys a little intro for those who aren't familiar with the platform. Both of these intros were great. Maybe I should have you guys present instead of me. But as in a nutshell, we try to be the one-stop shop, the one place for all these creative AI-aided processes. I also occasionally teach at Harvard, and a big value in what we've been building is keeping that creative process all in one place. And I'd like to teach this idea of process as project. And so having awareness and not jumping across all of these different platforms beyond the traditional chaos. There's so many tools already. You add AI to the picture and things certainly do get noisy. And so we're trying to address keeping up to date, finding what are those best models, keeping control over that creative process. And then as Andy mentioned, it can be quite challenging to manage subscriptions, licenses, and user agreements. So we've packaged this all together to one place. Collaboration is at the center of our offering. We are built by architects for architects, and data security compared to some of the models like Midjourney out there, they retrain your data. And so for the models we can control, for example, the Flux, our Flux Enterprise model, we give you full control, full security over that. So the traditional workflow might include workflows, for example, you might go to different tools for different tasks. You might really have different subscriptions depending on your workflow. And trying to keep up to date is certainly a challenge. And so we're consolidating all of these different tools in the one place. To date, today we have 26 live models. And some of the models that these include are all the Flux models, the latest Stability AI models, Flux Pro, and then what was just demonstrated, the Flux Max, the Flux Context Max model. Magnific is always an industry standard, I would say. And for video, we just launched VO2 and VO3, and soon we'll also have image input for VO3, which for those who aren't aware, you can put in an image input and get an output video from that image input, but also have audio on it, which is literally the latest video tools that are out there. And then for 3D, we're now producing from one single image. You can produce a mesh-based output with 5 different models, and I'll give you a glimpse into what that means. We are built by architects. That is within our product roadmap. 3D is definitely where we are heading. We just launched a speckle integration, so you can connect Rhino, Revit, SketchUp, you name it, and bring those all into one place. And some of the workflows that we are covering right now, there's several out there, and some include text to render, enhancing your render, so an upscaling process, converting a single image, for example, a sketch, or a line drawing, for example, here into a render, converting sketches, hand sketches, keeping the coherence of those edges for those technical people out there. We're using control nets for some of the models. And then you can convert those into videos, into 3D objects, export these in different file formats. Quality is always a priority for us. Relighting, generating different seasons from images and keeping that input coherent. Importing from Rhino, so that speckle integration, working with 3D objects is already integrated. You can choose your view, generate images from that. And then collaboration is always at the heart. So we have that Figma, that Miro-like, that infinite canvas. Create boards, share it with your team, share it with clients, or with the partners in working on your same projects. And so some typical workflows are really going from sketches to images. You can in-paint certain regions with our infill in-painting feature. You can upscale those, generate multiple views, and this is a glimpse into what is only going to get better this year, which is 3D workflows. And so you can generate 3D objects. For now, it works really well for interior design, objects, furniture, or artwork. For architecture, it's only getting better, but there are some interesting use cases also with that. And you can then convert these into videos. At the core of what we've built is flexibility, collaboration and flexibility, so that users, non-technical users, can use the tool out the box, or technical users can go deeper into each parameters of each modality. And you can see the node is designed to be identical. So you have text to text, if you use it out of the box, you can click generate and then keep going. If you want to go into parameters, you can see there's that settings tab, generate more images, generate a video, you name it. And you can see these are some of the many nodes we have out there. Just to give a glimpse into 2 workflows, for example, that we've just launched. This is the Flux Context Max model, where you can essentially convert. Let's see, maybe it doesn't want to work. Oh, maybe it doesn't want to work. This is the Figma slides, which I'm so excited by, and I'm ready to ditch PowerPoint and Google Slides, but it's not quite there for video. So I'm just waiting for that moment for us to get past this and actually have good design, nicely designed presentations. What this workflow was showing is adding these, like a building and adding a material, and then you can merge those 2 styles and apply that texture on a building. And so some other workflows, we collaborated with Zaha Hadid. They offered a great workshop with Digital Futures in Shanghai just now. And so this workflow was using that Flux Context model, taking a segmented or a material ID image, and then essentially prompting by color. So you can add the hex value or the color and say, this material could be this could be that, merging with those input images which they provided. And just a last glimpse into another workflow, you can convert that single image into a 3D object. And I think the videos are struggling also now but you can see you can go from one single image, or you can have multiple images to really start conditioning that final output. So it's quite challenging. It's really state-of-the-art work to infer, to actually make a prediction of what is behind an object. So could you condition that with this called a multi-view process, and it have inputs from like a building or an object from the front, from the right, from the side, and maybe the back. It can be 1, 2, 3, or 4 images. Okay, that leads me to giving you guys a little glimpse and maybe going a little deeper into some of the workflows that Andy from KPF kindly shared. And so when you first enter the platform, logging in is super easy. You can do it with your Google accounts, Microsoft accounts. You start with free credits, so you're welcome to get going and just give it a go. So when entering, you see you have all of these different boards, and you can see your gallery across all of these projects. If you're an enterprise customer, you would only see your images from your specific user. You can have access to a credit pool and manage those accordingly with your teams. You're also able to train your own LoRa models in the platform. So you're uploading 20 to 50 images. You can choose the number of steps, add a trigger word, and then in 30 minutes to an hour, usually no more than an hour and a half, you get your LoRa model. What you will get out of this is also, for the technical people, it's called a safe tensor file. You can actually bring that off platform if you wanted to, for example, in Comfy UI or across different workflows. We're trying to really balance this open source world. You can do the opposite and you can train a LoRa model. You might have done this already. And if you want to bring it in to the platform, you just bring that URL into one of the nodes. So for those who don't know, the LoRa models, for example, are LoRa models are models that permit you to do a style transfer. And then you can put an input image, choose your LoRa model, and get a style output. So I just wanted to give you a glimpse into the platform in itself. It is this infinite canvas. When you first enter, you're going to be prompted with, would you like to select the template? Would you like to start from scratch? Let's assume we'd like to start with the template, and Andy gave a great introduction. These templates are intended to be used out of the box. And so you can use the text-to-text, imagine it as like a prompt enhancer. Now, prompting is really at the core of a lot of this process, or you can simply select on the X and bring in your input image. So here you can literally drag and drop, or maybe you want to go back into your history and say, oh, actually, I want to use an image that I've generated earlier. I'm going to drag it in or from my desktop and then bring that input in and then continue your workflow. Now, this should work on an image-to-image process. So here you can say a Norwegian cabin. It'll enhance your prompt. This is at 0 credits using the text node. And then you have that extended prompt right there. And all you're doing for each node is selecting that generate button. And so use out of the box. You don't need to go deeper into the parameters. Maybe this is a bit more of a traditional design. You can go much more creative, and prompting is always the fun part. And then you can choose if you want to go deeper into the tool. It's not essential, but for the technical people, this is where we offer all of those models. So Flux Enterprise, Ideogram, the latest OpenAI model, Gemini is another great model, and several of the stability AI models. Each model produces different levels, different quality outputs, and has different input settings. And so we're always trying to get the best ones out there. There's going to be certainly a lot of change in the next few months. But if you're on this platform, you have no worries. You're always going to find the best out there. The same then applies. You can see we could potentially replace the black cladding. We could use this. I'm actually going to keep this prompt, change this to, it's the Flux context model. I'm going to make it max and keep the same prompt. And actually, I'm going to make this also into max. And here you can generate 1, 2, 3. We're probably going to add up to 9 images. And so you can see how this creative process can really go in many different ways. So if you want to upscale that image, you can. If you want to then create a video, you can go to the video tab. If you want to create a 3D object, or perhaps in-paint your input image. So here you would in-paint that region, edit it, and have full control over it. And so here we can see, okay, sometimes the prompt doesn't always work, and this is kind of a process in itself, but the Flux model is maybe less, it's more flexible, and I'll show you some key examples of this. Then, for example, our Flux Enterprise model. And so just some use cases to give you guys a glimpse. You could have a sketch input, prompt it to say a modern house. You use this input as an image. Perhaps we want to generate a texture or use a texture. You can combine those two in getting an output. So you have that input, you have that texture, combine the two and get an output. Perhaps you want to then upscale it. Upscaling is, there's several parameters. You can see that output image, and then why not then make a smooth orbit or prompt it to generate a video and get some fun outputs of this building or of this villa. And so then you can share these boards, have fun, annotate these. You have all the fun, the Miro-like annotation things, the shapes, the text. You have live commenting as well, like change this now. And so commenting is there, and you can add, you'll see like the person's name. And these are a few updates that we've just added in the last few days. Some other fun workflows, I'll use KPF. I guess you guys as an example, this was converting that same sketch, and you can do a style transfer off of a past project. In that case, you can use an Enscape image, add a watercolor input, and this, I'm a big fan of these more abstract aesthetics than for competitions at least. And you can convert, for example, these views into things that are a little more forgiving, at least within that competition context, from, let's say, that that quasi-realistic Enscape aesthetic. And then you can really keep going, use a style from here, use a different prompt, keep that aesthetic, and just keep generating, iterating, and really having fun. Some other ones are relighting images, zooming in or zooming out. You can use Flux Context for this as well. You can use Magnific then to upscale images, but you can kind of see nighttime, daytime, keeps coherence over those inputs in a few clicks. Some other use cases, here you can see the one we collaborated with Zaha for this Tongji University workflow with their inputs. So you can see this is the type of prompt you can draw through colors. You can choose the hex value, or you could actually describe those and say, use these colors and apply these materials or these textures. And you can really start getting some interesting outputs in this with this. So that one might not have an image. This changed the context a little bit, but you can see it's an iterative, but also really fun and rewarding process as you keep going through it. And so I guess a final really fun one before going into some updates is to leverage these video tools. Now, this is VO2, which just launched, and this is from one single input. All I prompted was doing a slow orbit around this building, and the quality, at least for architecture, I found works really well for VO2, but also for Kling 1.6, which is one of the other models. And we've built out a full documentation. We're going to keep building on it, and you're welcome to find those in the documentation tab right here. Or share the projects right here, or go back to projects. There's a whole interface on the top right. And where can you find Kling? It's the same interface like the other ones. You can choose your model. Kling AI, for example, we have 3 models, single image input or multiple inputs. You could put start frame and end frame with the multi one right here. And so you can actually have the 2 inputs. So it would essentially have start frame end frame, combine the two, and then you'll get like that interpolated or that combined sequence between those two images. Super fun. I'm going to give a little glimpse into some of the latest updates in the last few weeks. We've really been focusing deep on this collaboration aspects. So you have real-time commenting, parallel processing. Now, if you generate like crazy, or if you're a power user, you can just keep generating, and we're going to run all these generations all at the same time. Text to text, it's free. We're using the OpenAI model. We're probably going to add more models to this, as always. And then for Magnific, we added that style transfer, which produces really high quality results for converting one style. Again, it's two inputs: input image, style reference, combine the two, and then you get that output. And then tools like Runway, these are the multi-view processes. Maybe you want control over how a frame moves, over what that sequence is. For Tripo, for 3D, we're only improving the models here. So we just upgraded 2 of our models, and then Speckle. Speckle is a great latest addition we've had for a while, and now we've just upgraded. And so I'll just give you a glimpse into another board of what this workflow might look like. Perhaps to introduce Speckle, first we can take a glimpse into 3D. And so here you can see one of many workflows, for example. For example, like think of generating a facade options. I'm in a competition, I need to work fast. I don't want to model these by hand, or don't want to build a complex grasshopper script. So could I leverage these tools, and the output examples can actually be a lot better than these. You can go more organic, more regular, but you can start seeing from that single image, you have a workable 3D object, which next week we're launching a segmentation model. So imagine this same output, but segmented into parts. Facade, windows, you can then apply different textures or different materials. And you can then import these, export these as OBJs, work with the texture files, and really have fun with it. Our Speckle integration, all it takes is bringing in a view, importing your model. You can see Gene collaborating and joining me right here. You can simply put the URL. There's information of how to do this in the question mark right here. And so you can see that output geometry right there. I might want to choose a view. Perhaps this is not the best view, but I can save that view. Click on that view. Maybe I'll click on the one next to it. And then I choose that view as an output to then generate. In this case, we can use, again, that Flux context model. There's several more out there, and happy to offer deeper introduction of some of these tools, but you can then generate. So I'm combining that text-to-text workflow with that input image. There's one of the many views that I've selected there. And so you can then, you see it's generated 4 pretty fast speeds, and you can see that input-output parameter. I could probably prompt this to be a little better. I could say daytime, I could say nighttime, and you can then download that. It's typically a 1024 image. And then at the end, why not, as usual, upscale that image, work with it, and you can add people in, paint them in, or keep going from there. Now, Andy gave a glimpse into one of these workflows right here of saving your own templates. And this was a great feedback that he offered to us. You can do 2 things, which is select your nodes. And this is where it becomes really accessible for teams. So if you're a little more technical, you're comfortable with these approaches, you could create them, choose the parameters, and then share them with the team with this template button. So live session. So I'll save that template. I'm going to go into templates here, and then I have my templates, which you will be able to share very shortly. And so now it's just generated. I have my workflow, and other users can use them. Or if you're teaching a class, it's the same thing. I create my full workflow. I can move around, generate new things, and then share this with my class. If I need to work fast, you can click Run All. And Run All will generate from the left to the middle to the right. A question from Ed is, does the template save parameters? It will save parameters and all the metadata. We just added this in the last few days. So if it doesn't, we'll have that very soon. So each week, actually, we add new parameters. We move super fast with the feedback we get. We add new AI models, and it's at least one new model or a set of new parameters every week at a very minimum. Okay, I want to give you guys a glimpse into how to join. And xFigura works with a credit-based system. And you can, let me pull this up. It's a credit-based system, so you could see, for example, each node here has a different set of credits. Here I'm generating 8 images. Nano is 0. If I want to generate, for example, one single image, some are even 0.5, you can choose and see what credit value you're using. For enterprises, you'll have access to pools, credit pools, which you can share on a monthly level. And so we have basic plans, professional plans, or enterprise. These give you similar benefits. For enterprise, clearly we have a full suite of other features, which we're happy to show you. And so the main difference between Starter and Pro is that credit value here. And so for enterprise users, what we do value is giving you guys, companies, access to building custom features. We have regular calls, we have Teams channels, or Slack if you're a Slack user, and then a dedicated onboarding workshop just to teach the architects or learn how to use these tools and get running. So feel free to contact us if you have any questions whatsoever. If you are interested in joining, we have several companies, several universities, and also recently a lot of students extending their interest in this space. Feel free to try it out on xFigura.ai. You have a set of credits. You can start for free and tinker around and see if that's something you like. You can also contact us at info@architag.ai. So feel free to reach out if you're interested as an enterprise or academic as university. We're happy to extend and have that conversation. And our newsletter, which we launch about once a month with just some updates and some of the latest things we have been building. Thanks everyone for listening. This is xFigura. Looking forward to seeing you guys on the platform. With that, I'm happy to take the last few minutes to take any questions, to keep this on the informal side, and perhaps any questions to Andy, who is still with us, or Dave, about the platform, about their experiences. You can feel free to unmute yourself and yeah, go for it. Was that cool? Was that exciting for LoRa model? Okay, we have a question. For LoRa models, will there be an update in future where you can expect the expand on the trained model? It's a great question. We had this similar feature request recently, and we are looking at essentially permitting you to edit your trained LoRa model and give you access to more parameters. We will also be integrating a much faster LoRa model, likely in the coming week, if not 2 weeks. Awesome, thanks for the feedback. Could you describe the possible subscriptions for specific courses at university? So for universities or students, we offer an academic pack. It's typically around 30% discount with your EDU email. So feel free to reach out and I can help set that up with professors, the university at large, or simply with you guys if you're students interested. Thanks, Jennifer. Thanks, RJ Studio. Deva, what's the usual time to render video? Does it depend on subscription? It doesn't depend on the subscription. Generally, video models are a little more time intense, so that will take maybe 30 seconds to a minute and a half on average. And the same applies for 3D models. These are in the maybe 1 to 2 minute range on average. But you can use any subscription. You can also try it on the free version when you do log in. Okay, so Rob, for people who are following the rapidly developing models, they know which is good at what. Do you envision a system where an agent on your Infinity Canvas can then suggest the required workflow and also the options of different credit costs? Agents certainly are the topic of this year. You cannot be an AI startup or an AI company without addressing these. So certainly it is a topic of interest, and we're definitely interested in integrating these and making it fully customizable, fully personal, and learn from how you work. Different credit costs. We always prioritize having an accessible model as well as the latest, the more expensive models. For example, the VO2 and VO2-3 models are very credit intense, but the quality is really good. We're working with Google now to work on improving those costs. It's always a priority to bring these costs down. And perhaps if we have an agentic process, there could be some options. Interface is always a big priority for me, in keeping the human in the loop, giving you options, making the workflow very clear. So you could have like an accessible or a light workflow or a light credit workflow and a more expensive or a more high-end one, potentially. Question from Pedro: is it possible to control the reference to camera angle in multiple image inputs for video? So for the video models, for 3D, okay, the question from Pedro is, can you control? So when you're doing a multi-view process for multiple images to 3D object, the process is using models like Gemini, using models like Flux Context Max, or using the OpenAI models. These are more conversational. And so I would suggest using the prompt enhancer to really double down and also repeat and say, generate an image of this building, of this object, from the right, from the side. It's always important also to reinforce it and say, keep the geometry structure, keep your input accurate based on that, the input image. So it is an iterative process, which I would say also makes this super fun and brings out the creative side of us all. For David and Andy, which AI model within xFigura have you had most success with?
I just put it in the text anyways, but generally speaking, I use the Flux Enterprise and context models. For generation, I usually use ideogram, and then for upscaling, usually go with Clarity because it's much cheaper than Magnific. Magnific is really good, but I don't know, when you compare it against Clarity, I feel like Clarity does the same exact thing for a fraction of the price. And then for video, we've been big fans of Runway.
Awesome.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of video stuff in the last couple of weeks, and Runway's been where it's at for us as well.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing the latest on with the multi-view process, which just came out. Thanks, guys. For Deva, any prompting technique structure to follow to generate video, like Midjourney style, like adding people and camera movements? So Deva, we're going to be adding full documentation to help you prompt and iterate or generate any images, any like more accurate camera controls. Now, it's important to say that each model is trained on different data sets and different inputs. So I would one interesting place to go is also to that source models documentation and see how they prompt and you control that camera. But it is a bit of a trial and error, especially with video, which has been very recent. But thanks for the question. Academic version, Antonio, is essentially the starter plan, the individual plan, and the pro plan with that 30% discount applied to it. And if you are an institution or a larger group of students, we're happy to, give that onboarding. I've taught many workshops with xFigura, and I'll also be teaching some of the courses, a workshop in the next few weeks at Harvard. And so it's definitely something we can talk more about. Feel free to reach out. I'd love to continue this conversation. Okay, we'll give it maybe a few more minutes and then we'll call it a day. This has been a great session. This session is being recorded. We will put it on YouTube. I'll get everyone's approval if that's the case. And we'll have it on our YouTube channel in the next week or in the next few days, actually. I think I'll give it one more minute and we'll close at 50 past. So Edward, some feedback on your question. If you look at the documentation, we're going to make this super accessible and available. We're going to outline what the benefits of each model, of each workflow is. And so you'll definitely go there or reach out to me personally or to the info@xfigura.ai. With that, thank you everyone for joining us. Jean has just shared some information. Join our Substack or Discord. Just try us out on the website. If you have any questions whatsoever, we're here and happy to have you with us. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, George. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.